Introducing our introducer, Lynette Black. Lynette is also a colleague of our Ruby Award winner. Lynette is a family emergency preparedness and 4-H youth development educator. She's been on the PILD Conference Planning Committee. And most recently in 2018, if you remember, she was up here because she got the JSEP Extension Professional Award. So Lynette.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us in the celebration of our recipient of the Ruby Distinguished Service Award. This is the most prestigious recognition that's presented by ESP and recognizes a truly outstanding outstanding thinking, performance, and leadership in extension. The recipient of this award has made a highly significant contribution on the state, regional, and national level over a lifetime career with extension. It is my honor and privilege to introduce the 2019 ESP Ruby Award winner, Patricia Dawson. But before I turn the mic over to her, I would like to share just a bit about her accomplishments that you may not know. Patricia first dabbled in extension as a 4-H member 50 plus years ago. And as a 4-H member, then she went to work for the University of Idaho Extension as an intern, working in the state home economics office. Now, for you young people, home economics was the old family and consumer science program. There, as an intern, she helped develop some curriculum and then moved on to be a field educator for the University of Idaho Extension. Unfortunately for Idaho and luckily for Oregon, we stole her away. And we have had her for the last 33 years and have enjoyed her innovative, creative, and successful programming for all that time. Patricia has always felt the importance of giving back to her profession, resulting in years of engagement and leadership in professional organizations such as NAE4HA. She was the editor of the Journal of Extension for years, and most importantly, her engagement and leadership with our ESP organization here. She has advocated for the value of extension, and it is a priority for her. And I believe she has held probably every leadership position in ESP, culminating with by serving on the national board as our president not that long ago. Patricia's greatest joys have been watching both volunteers and youth grow in skills and confidence as a result of her efforts. I'd like to think another one of her greatest joys is serving as a mentor for myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Patricia Dawson. Thank you.
I think this is, okay, perfect. Thank you, Lynette. That's just way too much, so kind. I must say that it is an honor and humbling experience to be selected by my peers as the 2019 Distinguished Service Ruby recipient, particularly since it is sponsored by Epsilon Sigma Phi, an organization I truly love. This honor came as a total surprise. I wondered why my chapter hadn't included me in the award selection process this spring. It kind of bothered me. You guys were tricky. Recognition of this sort doesn't happen single-handedly. It comes with the support of family and team members, and I want to acknowledge those who have been at my side throughout my extension journey. First is my husband, Bill, who has dealt with more than one late dinner, change in weekend plans, and countless nights alone as I've conducted work on behalf of Epsilon Sigma Phi and the Cooperative Extension Service. Thank you, Bill. I couldn't have done it without you. Bill and I are thrilled that our son Ty, who is a major in the Army base here in Fort Carson, could be with us today. And we're looking forward to having him move back to Pendleton in a few months. So thank you, Ty, for being able to be with us. Our daughter, Monica, and her husband, Wes, and our awesome grandchildren, Seth and Claire, are back home in Washington. Seth is a freshman in high school, and Claire is tackling her first year in junior high, and that is way more important than listening to Grandma today. No matter how crazy my schedule, I made it a point to be home for every holiday, every birthday, every anniversary, even if I had to duck out early from a meeting or catch a red eye home, and I did that a lot. You can't recapture those special family memories. Those of us in the room today know how much our family sacrifices for us as we perform our duties. And frankly, we need to get a better handle on that as we move into the future. I want to extend a special thank you to Lynette Black, Mike Knutz, and Barbara Brody for preparing my nomination packet, as well as all of the additional work that was required to make today possible. I also thank the entire Gamma chapter for their support of the nomination. If my colleagues from Oregon could kindly stand. Thank you. It means so much to have your support. While I can't name everyone, I do want to give a shout out to past National President Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne not only hired me 36 years ago to join Oregon's extension team, but he also is the person who nudged me to first serve on the NAE4HA board and later on the ESP board. Thank you, Dwayne, for your constant nudging, prodding, and dedicated support. Back home in Oregon are hundreds of talented partners and volunteers who work side by side with me to develop and deliver educational programs. Without a doubt, it would have been impossible to provide the level of service we accomplished without the team effort. I particularly want to acknowledge Joan Foth, who served as my administrative assistant for numerous grant-funded projects, as well as the behind-the-scene work for the Journal of Youth Development. Thank you, Joan. You made me look really good. And last but not least are a number of you in this room today or viewing online that have served with me on various committees, projects, and boards. Thank you for your friendship, the expertise you shared, and your willingness to put up with my constant questions and blunt approach to getting the job done. Without a doubt, I left those meetings far richer with inspiration and the knowledge that we are in good hands. It has been an honor to serve with you. As I prepared my remarks for today's Ruby Lecture, I reflected on my 50+ years with Extension and how my various experiences had influenced me. As a child, I had my heart set on being a campfire bluebird. After all, they had really cute outfits. But my parents informed me that campfire wasn't an option. I was going to be in 4-H. We were newcomers to Extension, and I didn't have a clue what 4-H was, nor do I recall selecting my first projects. Clearly, this was parent-driven. But nonetheless, I became a member of the East End Livestock 4-H Club and was off and running. How many of you would consider yourself champion-level 4-Hers? Well, I was the keeper of the red ribbon cache. My first county fair is forever imprinted in my memory. My mother misunderstood and insisted that I wear everything I had made that year for the fashion review. So if you can imagine, there I was in my best party dress, because this was a special event, my patent leather shoes, wearing a brown kitchen print apron, a pink little headband and floral headscarf, carrying my little tea towel that I had hand hemmed in a red plaid pincushion. Absolutely nothing matched, not good. And I'm still trying. I am still literally trying to forget my first horse show. My Appaloosa Spot came down with colic on the first day of the show. Nothing doing, I needed to complete the classes I had entered. That's the family rule. You start what you finish. So my dad's favorite roping horse, Buck, was saddled up, and I was reminded that as long as I held on, I'd do fine. Now, Buck, he'd earned his name fair and square. I don't think I need to tell you any more about how that went. Well, it was a rocky start, but I continued on in the 4-H program for 9 years and garnered wonderful lifelong experiences. And later as a 4-H agent, those experiences helped me to serve my clientele with empathy, as I truly had walked in their shoes. Rest assured, I offered plenty of fashion review clinics. So as I reflected on my career in extension, there were many rewarding and challenging experiences, but 2 major projects rose to the top that tie in with today's theme. First is my engagement in the Journal of Youth Development, which I was instrumental in developing alongside a great team of scholars, including Rich Lerner from Tufts University, Joseph Donaldson from Tennessee, Elijah Wilson, and numerous others from across the country. So why did I agree to help design and serve as JYD's editor for 12 years when my plate was already overflowing? One of my concerns as a 4-H professional was that few in the world of youth development understood that our work was more than camps and fairs. I felt it was important to advocate for our profession and showcase the scholarly work that is being accomplished. And on a selfish note, I wanted to see more 4-H professionals sitting at decision-making tables with valid research to back their work. Today, JYD is the official journal of 2 of the largest professional associations for those working with and on behalf of young people, NAE 4-HA and the National After School Association. The journal fills a critical niche, a place for applied scholarship and practice-based work. In other words, relevant and useful studies about and for those working with and on behalf of young people. It is easy to sit back and to complain that no one understands who we are or what we do. I encourage you to step up to the plate and advocate for the profession beyond Extension's walls. A second project which is dear to my heart is the Attitudes for Success program, which was designed to serve at-risk Latino and Native American youth in Umatilla and Morrill counties. 30 years ago, when the program was launched, neither my neighboring agent and partner with the project, Bill Broderick, or myself considered that the public would object. After all, our Latino population was twice the state average and rapidly increasing. We knew that our Latino students were failing academically and their families were struggling in understanding how to navigate policies in their new communities. Unfortunately, I encountered community pressure to drop the Attitude for Success program from my plan of work. One went so far as to organize petition signing campaigns during county fair to have me relocated anywhere but Umatilla County. As you can imagine, the advisory board meetings were heated. The bottom line was fear in learning how to interact with our new neighbors, as well as concern from some that I wouldn't be able to continue to provide high levels of service to the traditional 4-H club programming. Obviously, these people didn't understand the golden rule of extension at that time. We don't drop programs, we just add. So my tasks were cut out for me to not only determine how to better serve our at-risk populations, but how could I ease community concerns? One of the first things I did was invite Jan, the petition chairman, to be my camp cabin roommate. And we spent many a late night talking, sharing values and concerns. Jan and I went on to become good friends. She signed up to be a 4-H volunteer, and she was one of the first people I called when Bill and I got engaged. Came a long way. Since inception, more than 10,000 at-risk youth have participated in Attitude for Success, with 98% of those participants indicating the program has helped them understand the importance of completing their high school education and securing a college education as well. And more important, our tracking records indicate 86% of the participants actually have gone on to pursue some form of higher education. If I had given up when the first petition was launched, I wonder if Alejandro would have gone on to become a pilot for a major airline. I wonder if San Juanita would have become a psychiatrist, or if Abelardo would have become an executive assistant for a major utility firm. Or instead, would they be earning minimum wage working at the local processing plant? We all know that change is not easy, but it's important to take a risk and step out of our comfort zone if we are to continue to serve our ever-changing community dynamics. When I recently retired, I had more than one person come to me and say, "So hey, Patricia, do you think your programs will continue? Do you think there will be changes?" And even worse, I was asked, do I think extension will be around in the future? Those questions have gnawed on me for months, particularly after investing my life in the cooperative extension service. So some might argue that the cooperative extension service has had a good century run, but our future is doomed. I'm going to disagree. If you look at Extension's mission to engage people with research-based knowledge and education that strengthens communities and economics, sustains natural resources, and promotes healthy families and individuals, you must agree that the needs for extension are greater now than ever before. So how do we carry out our mission in this ever-changing landscape that we encounter today? I'm an historian, so to me, an important step is to step back and reflect on Extension's past and how our founders laid the platform for our journey into the future. What an incredible founding father we have, Seaman Knapp. Frankly, I doubt he stood still for a moment. He was visionary, innovative, and understood the importance of giving clientele the tools to succeed. Knapp focused on solving economic productivity problems in the context of agriculture production. In the words of Dr. Knapp, what a man hears, he may doubt. What he sees, he may possibly doubt, but what he does himself, he cannot doubt. Looking back, our home demonstration work was considered a comprehensive system of education for rural homemakers, described as a method of work that has so much action in it, and because it reaches every fundamental of civilization so vitally that it should never crystallize. Those early day agents were innovative, engaging, and had grit. For example, when the influenza struck Richmond County, Georgia in 1918, the home demonstration agent converted the entire fairgrounds into a hospital for several thousand people and enlisted local school teachers and volunteers to become temporary health staff, all in less than 24 hours. Without a doubt, her actions saved the lives of many. Could we do that today? If you haven't taken the time to review our history, I would encourage you to do so. The stories are fascinating. A great source is a reference titled The Demonstration Work, published by our own Alpha Zeta chapter of Texas. Perhaps our past 100 years of rich history were preparing us for a new golden age of extension before us now. Just as our early day extension educators journeyed into the unexpected, so must we move forward, addressing the ever-changing challenges of those we serve. When I selected the title for today's presentation, I reflected on the many changes that I have witnessed during my career in extension and what possibly is ahead of us. You know, why is it that when we talk about making change in our personal life, we're usually really pretty excited about it? Yet when we talk about change or transformation at work, we generally panic. We're reluctant to change. Unfortunately, we are no longer the only game in town, and others are passing us by in the fast lane, while many of us remain steadfast in our dated operation mode, reluctant to change. We all know of counties that have lost extension funding and statewide programs that have been eliminated or downsized. Our legislatures and local taxpayers have difficult decisions as they wrestle with a list of public needs that far exceeds the funds that are available. How do we continue to advance and address the needs of our clientele? How do we stay relevant in the eyes of the public and maintain financial support during these challenging times? Well, I don't believe that there's a single prescriptive path. I wish I did. Nor I do think that embracing the overriding guiding principles and priorities or grand challenges, which were showcased during our centennial, is an important component of the journey. So I'm going to take you back and let's revisit those guiding principles. First is Extension's continued reliance on strong foundation in research and its application to seek to create a better America. Trusted, reliable, unbiased information must continue to be a hallmark of our organization. A second guiding principle is Extension's continued relevance and connection to the local community. Particularly important is our ability to deliver applicable education and develop relationships in the communities that we serve, as well as empowering local volunteers to deliver programs in their communities. The charge for Extension to serve all audiences is more important now than ever before. And last but not least, the guiding principle is Extension's commitment to innovative educational approaches, including the use of new and evolving digital technologies. We must continue to work to lower the barriers in adoption of research-based information by innovation in our communication and our program delivery. So fair enough, you might say, but how do we take these guiding principles and, for lack of better words, let the rubber meet the road? Our centennial celebrations provided a good opportunity for us to launch a system-wide facelift, which was labeled as our grand challenges or our niche for the future. And your state might have tweaked these or maybe not even approach the topics, but the overriding themes identified included agriculture and food security, urban programming, health and wellness, resource resilience, and community vitality. So let's take a moment to look at our evolving agriculture and food safety practices. We must continue to lead the way in helping our producers provide abundant, safe, and nutritious food in the context of climate change, diminishing natural resources, and the expectation of better health outcomes. At the same time, these efforts must be economically viable, environmentally sound, and socially responsible. There's a lot to do here for us. Just take a look at the issues of our farmers in California and the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act that they're facing today, or the dairymen of Oregon converting methane emissions from manure into electricity. And if we look at the grand challenges of demographics, we know that the rural areas cover 97% of our nation's land, yet less than 19% of our Americans' population resides there. We're growing grayer and more diverse. Without a doubt, we must have impactful presence in our cities that meets the needs of the urban, the low income, and our more diverse audience. Don't get me wrong, rural America is still important and needs our attention now more than ever, but we must become effective in addressing the urban needs as well. Extension's role in addressing the grand challenge of our national health crisis is critical. The United States continues to spend more on health care than any other nation, yet our nation has some of the worst health outcomes. Extension can serve a critical role in helping to reverse the health crisis in America by helping our communities establish healthy practices in all stages of life. And finally, the challenge of community vitality. Extension has the ability to help engage a dynamic network able to mobilize people, resources, and IDs driven by the local needs while supported by state, regional, and the national framework. So as we navigate forward, how are we prepared as an organization to address the nation's grand challenges as well as our own structural challenges? I don't have a crystal ball. I look for one, but I'm going to toss out a few ideas, encourage us to continue to discuss these this week and as we move forward. I'm going to start with Extension marketing. Extension is a well-kept secret. Historically, the value and services provided Extension were mostly provided word and spread word mouth by mouth, So who didn't know about and rely on services provided by our legacy programs, 4-H, home economics, and agriculture in the 1950s? Today, though, many people who could find value in cooperative extension program know little or nothing about the organization. Studies indicate urban populations have limited awareness of extension and seldom use our educational resources or participate in extension programs. Without a doubt, the disparity in awareness and support for extension in cities affects our funding streams. I can see why we create confusion and get lost in the shuffle. Our state mission statements are different. We call ourselves different things. We're known as Cooperative Extension, the Extension Service, or outreach and engagement departments. And we ourselves are known as educators, extension agents, county educators, field agents, on and on. So just Google a few key project areas that you're engaged in and see what pops first. Look at the definition of extension agent on Google as well. We know our society thrives with technology, but how accessible is our information? Where and how we deliver our information today is something we need to consider. If we want to remain strong throughout the nation and reach newer audiences, how we brand and market ourselves and our programs must be a discussion. New marketing efforts to increase program visibility and our reach to larger contingencies can ultimately result in greater support for extension. So moving on, let's consider the topic of supporting our organization's professionals. We've grown adept at doing more with less, and probably last night, if offered an Olympic competition, we would all come home with gold medals for multitasking. But seriously, how can we be better prepared professionally as we move forward? As I was preparing for today's presentation, I ran across this statement. Of the more than 14,000 extension workers in the US, many need additional training for most effective service. Very few have much training that specifically equips them for the work. Would you agree? Yes? No? Well, that statement was published in 1966 by H.C. Sanders, the director from Louisiana. Surely by now we could have come up with a solution, but we haven't. Unfortunately today, we can't just rely on our subject matter expertise. Extension personnel must have skills to work with a network of agencies and organizations that are already addressing some of the many factors contributing to complicated challenges. To work in this way requires competence in high efficiency teamwork, problem solving, leading change, communication, relationship building, entrepreneurship, risk management, on and on. Providing staff development opportunities in these areas is critical, yet it seems to be more than what any single state can address, particularly considering our financial challenges. Perhaps these topics might be tie in well with training modules developed at the national level by JSEP, ECOP, or our own ESP. And perhaps we might consider dividing and conquering by having each state contribute 2 or 3 predetermined training modules to a national database from which we all could benefit. As we add more young professionals to our team, we must provide a culture that embraces innovation and change. Developing collaborative work groups, both cross-county and cross-state, to address cutting-edge topics in a timely manner is important. We also need to provide recognition for their innovative work and mentorships for our young professionals to survive. And looking at how we work, it seems that we often duplicate our work, such as development of subject matter training modules. Does every single agent need to develop lessons on club management, ages and stages, sodium in the diet, canning techniques, or can we become more efficient in sharing our work via an extension resource library? And how about rethinking the impact delivery systems that we base our structure and staffing decisions on? Must our positions be tied to geographic boundaries? Statewide, it may be reasonable to consider a variety of geographic assignments. While our more rural areas may still maintain a county base, perhaps in other areas, in our urban areas perhaps, regional extension centers would make more sense to increase efficiencies and collaboration in our metropolitan areas. And perhaps even centralized public service centers where a variety of agencies are all housed to provide expedited service for those in need. As I mentioned earlier, we need to get a better handle on our work-life balance. So let's take advantage of technology for meetings and trainings rather than face-to-face gatherings. Virtual collaboration, whether on a simple task or complex challenge, is a necessity as the nature of our work becomes more globalized. And how about options to work from home, flex time, or 4-day work weeks? To address cutting-edge issues, let's consider a new type of position, a project-driven position that utilizes short-term expertise hired to address a specific issue, such as the Hot Shot program utilized in the Denver area. We know diverse staff is a must as we move forward. Yet in many areas, it is a challenge to find potential staff with the required skill set. Let's expand internship experiences to help grow our own, such as OSU's Promise Student Program, which introduces Latino students to extension careers. And as we look at innovation as we move forward, we know that extension is historically rooted in the spirit of innovation. And we know that we have to do that to be effective. We must think ahead of the crowd as well. However, current models, scholarly practices, and cultural characteristics tend to hold the system back by restricting time and opportunity for creative problem solving. It's important to allocate dedicated staff time and project funding for exploration and creative endeavors. Performance incentives for innovative efforts, regardless of success, and focused time to share results with colleagues is vital if we are to unlock new opportunities for extension. Today, we are competing with Alexa, Siri, Google, and YouTube as our potential clientele seek immediate answers to their questions. Leveraging the power of the digital environment is vital for our existence. As educators, we must become more adept at using our mobile learning platform and at the same time determine how we maintain relationships and connect with people via technology. Opportunities for engaging learners in new and creative ways must be expanded. Our extension personnel must be prepared and willing to collaborate across program areas and within a network of agencies and organizations as strategic action teams to address the many factors that are contributing to our grand challenges. To be most effective, we must fully leverage all components of our land-grant universities. Resources to aid us in collaborative work, facilitation skills, and conflict management are also needed in our toolbox. And our journey into the future with volunteers will remain a vital member of our team. From the beginning, volunteers have been an important component of cooperative extension's success. As we move forward, we must continue to develop models that are effective in recruiting unpaid or volunteer staff, particularly in our urban areas. And we need to remember that just as we struggle with travel for trainings, so do our volunteers. It is important that we capitalize on technology to conduct our trainings and meetings and consider a variety of volunteers, such as short-term episodic positions, subject matter volunteers, as well as traditional year-round positions. So Denver's hotshot model of hotshot volunteers should be on our list to consider. We spend a lot of staff time and money to bring our volunteers on board. Their investment must be kept in mind, this investment must be kept in mind as we prepare the volunteer for a successful relationship with our organization. Resources such as subject matter lesson plans for beginning volunteers, mentors, online information portals designed to provide a positive volunteer experience are important, particularly as we reach out to our newer audiences that are not familiar with our traditional programs. Treated right, we know that our volunteers can prove invaluable in sharing their stories with potential funders and of course our fellow taxpayers. So when we think of funding, I don't think that any of you would disagree that our extension funding at all levels has been on a decline. In light of diminished budgets, financial creativity and leveraging will be paramount in extension success. We know of the conversations of fees for services, charges for online workshops, sponsored programs, and unique partnerships, and we can add to that list. And I think it's important that we all share what we're doing in that area. So when the public goes to the poll to vote for an extension service district or tax increases, do they understand the value of our service? Taxpayers today want to know how extension education has changed public economics and impacted environmental and social conditions, in addition to being informed of learning and behavior changes of our clients. Now, more than ever, how we tell our stories and share our impact is a priority. Extension has had a whirlwind trip with many twists and turns along the road as we've navigated our past and prepared for our future. Today, we are armed with strong guiding principles and system-wide program priorities to better serve all people in America. I'm sure Seema Knapp would be pleased. As we move forward in our journey to transform Extension to meet the challenges of the next century, I have faith that we have the best and the brightest in the driver's seat. Are we ready? Are we able? Can we do it? I would say absolutely yes. Thank you for your dedication to our profession as Extension educators. It's been an honor to serve and work with you, and I truly appreciate the honor that you have bestowed upon me today. Thank you.